How's it going, everybody? It's Stock Picks by Tim, and I've got a quick update for you guys. Just 5 stocks to watch this week, and a lot of these are beaten down. Some of them I think will fall further, and some of these I think are set to explode this week, in my opinion. And we're first going to start off with INDY, INDI, Indy Semiconductor. Now, this one has been selling off. It's been having a rough week, and I expect a little bit more selling pressure this week, just on the fact that there's been a lot of insider selling. And I'm not necessarily worried about this. I do think there's going to be some negative selling pressure. I really think the executives are just selling for tax purposes. We're coming up to the end of the year here. They want to lock in some profits. They don't want to just be solely taxed in 2022. They want to take some taxes for 2021, take some money off the table and lock in those taxes. But I do see this potentially coming down a little bit further. One way you could play this is you could go with a cash secured put, which would be selling a put, not buying a put. You'd be selling a put for, say, the $10 strike, something like that. If it doesn't hit it, you get to collect that premium, and if it does hit it, you get to buy 100 shares of Indy at that strike price minus the cost of that premium that you gained. And that's one way I could play this one. I'm actually thinking about doing it again. Last time with Indy, when it was around this $10, $11 range, I did do a 10.50 cash secured put, I believe it was. That's one thing you could play. But do watch for Indy. Keep an eye on it. I think it will come down a little bit just because of this negative selling pressure. And I think it's kind of funny because there was news that Donald McClymont sold, and that day we actually had a green day. But then the day after that, we kind of sold off as more Form 4s were submitted by the rest of the executives. But I don't think this is a big deal. I think it also has to do with the Thunderbridge SPAC and the units that they received there. When they received each unit, it gives you the opportunity for 1 share and half of a warrant, I believe it was. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm kind of rambling on about Indy. I think it's a buy. It can come down though, I think. So just keep an eye on it. Possibly a cash secured put. Or if you actually have 100 shares right now, you could even go with a covered call, because I don't see this running up anytime soon. I do see some negative pressure coming with this one, at least over the next few days, maybe a week or two. I do see some downward pressure coming. Just, more news articles talking about this insider selling. I don't think it's a huge deal. And I do love Indy. This executive team is stellar. They know what they're doing. They've been working together for years and years, and I've gone over Indy more in depth in other videos. I just want to put it on your radar here to keep an eye on it and just watch it because it can come down and test that low 10. Next up, we're going to look at ChargePoint, and this one was running up to about $28, and then we've just been on a downtrend selling off. We've had all this negativity in the market, the variant, the little bit of selling off here lately, but I do like it where it's at. And if you look previously, if you look in history, it does come down to this level and bounce pretty nicely. And it even did this again. We talked about it last time, although it did sell off more than we expected. But if you were patient and if you were buying during this period, if you stayed convicted and patient and continued to buy through this period, it did reward you when it went up to this 28 level. And I think it will do that again. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, but when. And there's another one that this week I will be picking up more ChargePoint. As long as it stays down in this level, I'll be happy to buy more ChargePoint. And next up, we're going to look at Palantir. Now, this has been coming back up the last couple of days, so it is nice to see it returning. We've got the MACD continuing upwards and the RSI pointing up. And when we get down to this level, we don't stay down here too long, so I would potentially buy this where it's at, and it is holding above a few of the EMAs, so that is a bullish sign. Lately, the volume hasn't been very high, but we've been getting a lot of buying volume. We've been getting a lot of green, so that's good to see that we've been getting some buying, and we do have a gap back here. Okay, not all gaps get filled, but a lot of gaps do get filled more often than not, so it's something to consider. We could be pushing that 24-25 in very little time, especially if we do have a nice Santa Claus rally, which I think this stock would be one to benefit. And I mean, just looking at it where it's at, I feel like there's very limited risk for this. Although, yes, of course there's risk. It could come down to, 18 again, come maybe even down to 17. But I'm happy to pick up shares at this price, and I will continue to do so. So keep Palantir on your watch list, PLTR, keep it on your watch list. And next up, another one to watch here is going to be Astra, and they do have their launch coming up here in January. This was announced early December. I did go into this before, but this is another one to watch. We're going to get that launch coming out of Cape Canaveral. Hopefully I said that right this time, guys. But we're getting that launch out of Cape Canaveral, and I think this is going to rally coming into January. It could start at any time. And let's get into the charts here. And ever since their last successful orbit, we gapped up, ran up a little bit in the market, and then we just sold off, and it has not came back. It is actually lower than before. It's actually lower in price than before they had that successful orbit, which to me, that doesn't really make sense. That just doesn't make sense. So the launch was in that weekend, but it sold off on Friday because that Friday they delayed the launch. So it caused a bit of a sell-off. I mean, you can see here it did sell off a little bit because of that delayed launch, and then we did sure enough launch on that Saturday. Caused a lot of people to watch this one over the weekend, me included, and we did have a nice little run, but it surprisingly sold off very quickly. I do like it where it's at, although we almost have somewhat of a double top. We're having trouble breaking. We're having trouble breaking over the EMAs and keeping it there. I'd like to see this continue to keep over maybe the 20-day EMA. I'd like to see this stay over the 20-day EMA to give us a little bit of bullish momentum. I think this could continue to fall a little bit further, but keep it on your radar. I do like it at its current price, and I have been buying in ever since the 9s, a little bit at the 10s. I do like this where it's at, and I'm happy to buy Astra, ASTR. All right, and next up we've got AQST. Now this one, we're coming up into a huge week. This is going to be big. We've got the FDA approval or denial coming here. It's very possible coming into this week that it gets delayed and it could cause a sell-off. That might be a negative catalyst for it if they don't give an announcement. But another thing to put on your radar here, and this just happened, this actually caused a nice little run after hours. They were added to the NASDAQ Biotechnology Index along with 4 others. And like I said, we did run pretty nice after hours with that news. We got almost a 5% after hours run. And I do like it where it's at. We're still at a very low cap. We're at a $228 million market cap, very low in my opinion, and we've still got a ways to go to push those all-time highs. We were pushing those highs right at around 630, 640. We did break it here, and then we just couldn't hold it and we fell further. We did break it though here, but then it sold off. I do expect it to run here coming into this week. We've got a few great catalysts, and it's going to bring a lot of buying pressure into this. Definitely bullish on this company. I was getting into this one back when it was in the 3s. I am happy to buy it at its current price. Now, if you get a little overextended, one thing you could do is set a stop loss if you want to go that route. Just in case they don't get that approval and it starts selling off, you will get kicked out of your position and you can re-enter at a better point. But I'm not going to do that with all my shares, and I actually am not going to do that with any. I do have a couple of calls, 2022 calls, and I'm going to hold those through unless they just go way green and I make a bit of money on those. I will be just holding those calls. And my shares, I will be holding my shares unless we can push towards those all-time highs to where I might skim some profit off the table, maybe 10 to 20% of my total position, just a little bit, but I'm definitely bullish on AQST. And yeah, I mean, I was there with the last earnings. I liked what I heard, and it's definitely good to see them on the biotechnology index in the NASDAQ. These are definitely a few great catalysts for this one, and I do see it running with the day traders entering this final week here. Definitely expect it, but we'll see what happens. But that's basically all I got for you guys. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. I put out videos every single day, but that's the 5 stocks for you guys. Keep these on your radar. INDY, ChargePoint, Palantir, Astra, and AQST. But that's it. Thanks so much, guys, and I will see you on the next one.